Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've been getting a lot of questions about how I prep my eyes for eyeshadow, so I'm going to start off by showing you guys how I do that. I'm using the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in the shade C12. I'm going to start off by carving out the under part of my brow using a Morphe M224 brush. I'm also going to apply this concealer onto the lid space to prep for my eyeshadows. My favorite part about this concealer is that it does dry down into a matte finish, so you definitely don't need to set it with a powder. I prefer not to set my concealer with the powder because I feel like I get more pigmentation out of my eyeshadows. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and apply my concealer and then buff away any harsh lines using a fluffier brush. I'm also gonna apply a little bit of tape onto the side of my eye just to keep my eyeshadow really sharp, then move on to eyeshadows. The first few eyeshadows I'm using are from the Lick & Lash Beauty 35E Duchess palette. I'm taking a mixture of these two pink shades and buffing this into the crease for my first transition shade. So now I'm going in with the yellow eyeshadow from the same palette and with a little bit of a fluffier brush, and I'm going to use this color to blend out the edges of that pink eyeshadow. I'm going back in also with the previous brush using those two pink eyeshadows and reapplying those as well as I go along during this part of the blending, just to really make sure that the pink eyeshadow is like standing out against the yellow and it's not getting like lost in the sauce and everything like that with all the blending and everything. So yeah, just go ahead and reapply the yellow and that pink eyeshadow as needed until you feel like it's well blended and both the colors are showing up really pigmented. So now I'm going to go into the shade Ife from the Juvia's Place Magic palette. I'm keeping this eyeshadow tighter in the crease, so starting off in the outer corner, then dragging it into the crease using a pencil brush. And of course, you just want to make sure you go in with the previous brush that you used to apply those pink eyeshadows to make sure there's no harsh lines. So then I'm going to go ahead and cut my crease using that Makeup Revolution concealer. This one is in the shade C10, so I use C12 to prime my eyes and I use C10 to cut my crease. I started off using the Morphe 224 brush, then switched over to a smaller lip brush because I originally wanted to do like a full-on wing to cut crease, but then I changed my mind and decided to do like a floating type of cut crease. So I feel like a smaller lip brush works a little bit better for this kind of cut crease because it is a little bit more detailed and everything. After I'm done cutting my crease, I used a clean brush just to pat off any excess concealer. And then I'm going to go back in with those pink shades and that purple shade from the Juvia's Place Magic palette and just really blend out the outer corners and start creating like that nice gradient effect into the lid color that we're going to place on next. Then for the lid area, I'm using the color Fazo from the Magic palette and packing this using a smaller lip brush. This is a Morphe E19. I love using this brush to also pack on eyeshadow colors onto the lid because the edges are really, really sharp, so it's perfect for more detailed looks. I'm also going to add a glittery pigment on top of that eyeshadow because what would this look be without a little bit of glitter? I'm using the Makeup Addiction glitter pigment in the shade Skylight and prepping it using my NYX glitter primer. That's pretty much all I did for the eyes. So once I'm done applying my pigment, I went ahead and removed my tape and added some concealer onto the outer edge of the eye look to clean it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and move on to skin after. To hydrate my skin, I'm using the Mario Badescu Rosewater Facial Spray before I apply my foundation. Then to prime, I'm using the Jouer Anti-Aging Moisturizing Primer. For coverage and longevity, I've been using a mixture of the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation and the Maybelline 24 Hour Super Stay Foundation. And I've been really loving this mixture together, so you'll probably see this come up on my channel a few more times in the future. I'm using a brush to blend this out, and then I'm going to go over it with my Real Technique sponge for a extra flawless look. Moving on to concealer, I'm using the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Tan 50 to start concealing my under eyes. I'm also going to highlight my forehead as well as my Cupid's bow and sides of my mouth and chin. I'm also going to use the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Ginger. I'm placing this on the innermost part of the under eye area as well as a small amount onto the forehead just for added brightness. I'm blending everything out using a brush, then going back over it using a sponge for a seamless finish. Next, I'm going to go ahead and start setting my concealer. I'm using the RCMA No Color Powder and a Real Techniques setting brush. So we're going underneath the eyes, around the mouth area, my laugh lines. I also get oily on my forehead and brow bone, so I'm going to add a little bit of powder there as well. I've been really loving the Black Radiance True Complexion Powder Contouring Palette to contour and bronze my skin. So I'm using a mixture of both the bronzing and sculpting powders and just tapping this over any areas that I want a little bit of extra color and bronziness. Moving back to the eyes, I'm using a mixture of those two pink eyeshadows again and buffing this onto the lower lash line. I'm also going to go in with that yellow shade and go directly underneath the pink to blend it out, just to make sure there's no harsh lines. Then I'm going back into the shade Ife, and with a smaller brush, I'm placing this directly on the lash line to give that extra smoky effect. To really open the eyes, since we're using such dark colors, I'm going to use a white eyeliner on the waterline. This is the NYX Jumbo Pencil in the shade Milk. Then I'm going to go ahead and start prepping my lashes for some mascara. So I'm starting off using the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Primer. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some Maybelline Big Shot Mascara onto my lashes before I place my falsies. I applied my falsies off camera, but the style that I used is Go Big or Go Home from Bold Face Makeup. So once my lashes are on, I'm going to go ahead and touch up the lower lashes now using that same Big Shot mascara. Moving on to brows, I'm taking my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown and a Sigma EO6 brush and creating hair-like strokes onto my brows. You guys already know I've been preferring like the more natural, like feathered look, so nothing too crazy. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in any areas that need a little bit of extra attention. These Joy Cosmetics strobe drops have been a new favorite of mine in my makeup kit. This is my favorite thing to use before I apply my powdered highlighters. I feel like it just adds that extra intensity. So I'm starting off by dotting it onto my skin using a brush, then blending using my fingers. And of course, I'm going in with my Artist Couture and Jackie Aina Le Peach highlighter. This has been a favorite as well. So I'm dusting that on top of all of the areas that I applied that liquid highlighter, as well as a small amount onto the forehead. Then last but not least, to complete the eyes, I'm going into the shade Oh Sun from the Magic palette and popping that onto the inner corners. To line my lips, I'm going to use the Jouer Espresso Lip Liner. I'm also going to go in with the Alexa Persico Liquid Lipstick in the shade Goals and top it off using 2 Lime Crime Diamond Crushers in the shade Choke and a little bit of Pink Pearl. So that pretty much completes the look. All we have to do is apply our face gems. The face gems that I'm using are from Gypsy Shrine. This is the style Unicorn Crown. So I went ahead and kind of measured it out onto my forehead to see where I wanted it to go and applied the small little under eye jewels first. In the directions, it says to go ahead and hold these down for about 5 seconds. Once those little teardrop jewels are placed on, I'm gonna go ahead and apply the little headpiece. And that pretty much completes this look, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I really hope you guys enjoyed this makeup look, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video.